If you're eating low calories and not losing weight, this is why. I've been coaching people like yourself for over a decade, and we now have a full coaching team of 6 epic coaches that do this full time for a living. And trust me, calories in versus calories out or calorie counting works for everyone when done properly. But these are the 3 biggest reasons why you might think it's not working. The first reason, and by far the most common, is inaccurate calorie tracking. For example, here's a few things that we see on real client applications and check-in forms. So an oat latte that you didn't track in the morning, this is about 160-ish calories. A bit of garlic aioli on your chicken salad for lunch that you didn't track, that's another 120-ish calories per serve. Then for dinner, with your spicy Big Mac bowl, you slap on some burger sauce, you don't track it, per serve, this is just over 100 calories. During training, you smash a sports drink like a Powerade or a Gatorade, that's another 150-ish calories that you didn't track. That right there is 530 calories extra that you're consuming and not taking into account. So let's say you think you're eating very low calories around, let's say 1500 for example. You're actually having just over 2000 if you're doing stuff like that. And keep in mind, that's just a few examples, there's a lot more of those. The second reason is overestimating your calorie expenditure. Now this is basically when you think you burn a lot more calories on a daily basis than you actually do. Now one of the most common things we see is actually when you're setting up your starting calories, if you're using a calorie calculator or a macro calculator like this one here, by the way, if you want to use ours, I'll pop it in the description for you. If not, that's sweet. You can just Google TDE calculator to figure out your own. So for example, right, if I chuck my details in here, what are we weighing at the moment? 78. So for example, you can see, I'm just going to use the lose weight. The dogs are finally chilling a bit. So as you can see, we've got male, 29 years old, 175, 78. For example, if I go sedentary and we go lose weight, it literally puts me on 1700 calories. So let's say I'm actually lightly active. So I do train more than 3 times per week, but I do sit at a desk, or let's say my steps are like 4 or 5K a day. I probably would be lightly active, to be honest. Now, as you can see here, that puts the calories just under 2000, so 1989. Now, if we thought we were highly active because I train a lot 5 times a week, but I actually don't have an intense job, I actually personally find the calculators go more based off your non-training activities. So if you're a tradie and you're outside on the tools all day, and then you also train a handful of times a week, that's probably when you're going to be like moderately active or active, or maybe even highly active. But if you sit at a desk like this, even if you train balls to the wall in the gym, you don't actually burn that many calories during training. So it's more about everything else. So kind of go off your daily steps as well. Let's say I thought I was active. Instead of 1900 calories, that starts me on 2243, 250-ish calories more. If you think you're in a 500 calorie deficit, you could literally be in like a 250 calorie deficit just from setting up your calories wrong by clicking on the wrong activity level. And unfortunately, like I mentioned, workouts, you guys good or what? Workouts just don't burn anywhere near as many calories as we think they do. And this is just another reason why you should never try and out-train a bad diet. The third reason, you've just hit a plateau. This will generally happen when you've already lost a good amount of weight, and now you're either just at your new maintenance calories because you're a smaller human. So say you've gone from 90 kg down to 80 kg, your body now requires less calories on a daily basis just to maintain your weight. Now this one honestly sucks because it means you have to either lower your calories some more, or you have to increase your output, or a combination of the two. For example, let's say you're currently eating 1700 calories a day and you only do 2,000 to 3,000 steps per day. In that scenario, personally, I would rather keep eating 1700 and try to get those 2,000 to 3,000 steps per day up to say 5,000 or 6,000 or even more steps per day, because that's going to make a big enough difference to push you into a further deficit. And that'll break the plateau, and then you'll keep losing body fat. And every 10 minutes of walking equals roughly about 1,000 steps. So in that same scenario, if it was me, I would just simply wake up 15 minutes earlier and just smash 15 minutes of steps in the morning. That's not too bad. That'll be about 1,500 steps extra. And then again, 15 minutes in the arvo or at night. That would give me an extra 3,000 steps per day. That's how simply you can just add those steps on and just help push you further into a deficit without continually eating less and less and less. Now, of course, if you're already doing a solid amount of steps per day and you really think like, I cannot fit more in my day, or I don't want to because I'm fatigued, then unfortunately you do have to lower your calories. And in that scenario, I would usually lower the calories about 10%. Of course, it does depend, but that's a good rough guide to get you started. And if you want to see a real life example of the man, the myth, the legend behind the camera, Alex, also one of our coaches, content creator at AG, his transformation is right here. Pretty insane 12-week transformation, if I do say so myself.